Last time, Britain held the line. The Royal Air Force stopped the Luftwaffe. The Blitz failed to break civilian morale, and Adolf Hitler was forced to abandon his invasion across the English Channel. Stalled in the West, he turned his sights somewhere else entirely. The German war machine didn't pause for a moment. Instead, it executed a massive, silent pivot to the east, moving thousands of troops and machines away from the coast under the cover of night. Hitler had signed a non-aggression pact for the Soviet Union in 1939 to carve up Poland, but that signature was pure strategy. It was a temporary measure to secure Germany's eastern flank while they dealt with France and Britain. He never viewed the Soviet Union as a permanent partner. To Berlin, the East meant raw resources, agricultural land for German expansion, and an ideological enemy targeted for total destruction. Throughout the first half of 1941, Germany quietly assembled over 3 million soldiers, thousands of tanks, and nearly 3,000 aircraft along the Soviet border. It was the largest invasion force ever gathered in human history. Soviet intelligence picked up the buildup. They sent warning after warning to Moscow, but Joseph Stalin dismissed every single one. He refused to believe Hitler would break their agreement this early. He was wrong. At dawn on June 22, 1941, Operation Barbarossa began. Over 3 million German troops surged across the border. Soviet border forces were caught entirely off guard. In the opening weeks, thousands of Soviet aircraft were destroyed before they could even take off. The same blitzkrieg tactics that broke France now tore across the flat terrain of the Soviet steppe. Entire Soviet armies were surrounded, resulting in over 1 million prisoners taken in just the first few months. German forces advanced on 3 separate fronts, driving north toward Leningrad, pushing straight down the center toward Moscow, and plunging south to secure the Caucasus oil fields. By September, the Northern Army had reached Leningrad and completely surrounded it, trapping millions inside. By October, the Central Column had pushed hundreds of miles deep, close enough that German soldiers could see the spires of the capital city on the horizon. Hitler had brought a massive global power to the brink of total collapse in less than 4 months. But the entire German strategy rested on a swift summer victory. They had not prepared for the vast scale of Soviet geography. As German units pushed deeper into the country, their supply lines stretched to the breaking point. And then, the autumn mud gave way to an early and brutal winter. Temperatures plummeted. The extreme cold froze engines solid, cracked treads, and jammed infantry weapons. German soldiers were still equipped for a short summer campaign. Now they were fighting and dying in sub-zero conditions without winter coats. Distance and ice had stripped the invasion of its momentum. The mechanized army that had terrorized Europe was now paralyzed in the snow, just miles from Moscow. While the German lines froze, Soviet intelligence secured a critical piece of information. Japan was not planning to attack the Soviet Union from the east. Confident his eastern border was secure, Stalin ordered hundreds of thousands of fresh, winter-trained Siberian troops to move across the continent to defend the capital. In early December 1941, these reinforced Soviet armies launched a massive counteroffensive against the exhausted German lines. For the first time since the invasion began, the German army was pushed back. The rapid advance that had consumed hundreds of miles of territory halted, broke, and was physically driven away from the city. The promise of a swift 3-month victory was gone. Hitler was now locked into a grinding war of attrition on a massive second front, fighting an enemy with vast reserves of manpower. But while the fighting was unfolding in the snow outside Moscow, the scope of the conflict was expanding. Halfway across the planet, a completely different chain of events was reaching a boiling point. An industrial military power, one that Hitler had never accounted for, was preparing to strike. Next time, Japan makes a move that changes everything, and the United States is dragged into the deadliest war in human history.